and Meghan Markle's surrogacy scandal has entered the mainstream media domain.
It sounds fake.
Archie's birth story has been portrayed by Meghan Markle and Prince Harry for years as one of secrecy, seclusion, and defiance of the palace.
People think her kids are fake. They think they're...
However, voices are being raised, loud, determined, and bearing receipts these days.
It was a dreadful thing to do, and actually completely...
This raises the possibility that something even more sinister was happening behind those hospital doors.
This scandal comes as no surprise. Speculation about the children has been simmering for years.
And at the center of it all is Candace Owens. I was instantly enraged from this 10-second clip. It just annoyed me.
Who is highlighting what she sees as obvious inconsistencies in Meghan's pregnancy narrative.
Does it make you sound like a better mom? It makes you sound like really kind of into yourself in a way.
Medical experts and royal insiders are scratching their heads at the glaring discrepancies.
This crisis won't die down until the irrefutable truth comes out.
According to medical insider information and Harry's own biography, the official itinerary seems not just out of the ordinary, but nearly unfeasible.
He describes her very well. He does this by taking a look.
Absolute media manipulation. Well, I thought tonight this was really ridiculous.
A fast hospital discharge, 2 epidurals, and conflicting justifications for not telling the media.
Buckingham Palace is being pressured to remove Prince Archie and Princess Elizabeth from the UK's royal line of succession until the Duchess provides absolute proof that she popped out both babies herself.
When you put these jigsaw pieces together, you do not see a picture of a royal birth from a fairy tale. Ignoring this web of inconsistencies is becoming more and more difficult. This is the worst thing. This presents major concerns if any portion of this account is found to be untrustworthy. What precisely was the royal family concealing? And why? Because the public hasn't just been duped if the differences are genuine.
Why lie? It was just so truly
The chronology of Harry's story may reveal more than the two had expected. In his best-selling book, Harry describes how Meghan gave birth to Archie at the opulent Portland Hospital, where she allegedly underwent 2 epidurals before leaving a few hours later with their son. At first glance, it appears to be a dramatic and stunning tale that aims to demonstrate control and resiliency. However, concerns started to surface as medical professionals, nurses, and even seasoned mothers started to examine this account of what happened. At first, there were worries about getting 2 epidurals during childbirth.
Why would you do that? That's not necessary.
Silence everybody and just produce a DNA sample or proof of delivery.
It's like she's playing a human being. Like it's a performance.
Harry's version of the recovery timeline raises major doubts from a medical standpoint, since most new mothers are observed for at least a full day before leaving the hospital, especially if there are complications or even routine pain relief involved. Yet he has claimed that Meghan was back home in under 2 hours, comfortable, resting, and already sharing a bed with Archie, which is where the account starts to feel hard to accept, particularly when you consider that Frogmore Cottage is a significant drive from the Portland Hospital in central London, making it difficult to reconcile travel time, post-birth recovery, standard newborn checks, and discharge procedures within such a narrow window, even under ideal conditions, causing the timeline to appear rushed, poorly thought through, and strangely convenient, which naturally raises the question of why a story would be presented in a way that medical professionals say doesn't align with reality, and whether other parts of their carefully shaped narrative might also be questionable, especially when the inconsistencies become even more noticeable after examining how the palace officially managed the announcement and details surrounding Archie's birth.
It bothers me first because it's a lie. She's not in the hospital trying to induce labor by twerking. The hospital will not give you a bed because you're trying to induce labor. You are not allowed.
Under normal circumstances, the Queen is informed first, an official notice is prepared, and the press is alerted almost right away. But when Archie arrived, those long-standing practices seemed to vanish, with Meghan later offering 3 different reasons for why the media wasn't notified in the usual way. First pointing to a desire for privacy, then citing birth complications, which led many to ask why multiple explanations were needed if the situation was straightforward, especially as yet another version of the story shifted over time, leaving even seasoned royal correspondents, often sympathetic to the palace, admitting they were confused by the sequence of events, since some outlets were told Archie had already been born while others received reports that the Duchess was still in labor hours before the announcement, a level of inconsistency that does more than bend tradition, because it weakens trust in the institution itself, particularly when palace staff and security are known for following protocol to the letter, making it hard to believe these contradictions were accidental. and causing the secrecy and mixed signals to spark not just curiosity, but real suspicion.
Put up a camera, fixate it, and then both of you start twerking. Because in her mind, she was thinking, I'm going to release this later in a Netflix doc, or release it later to show people how relatable I am. Otherwise, you can have a cute moment with your husband without recording it. Like, why would you record this for any reason? Why would you record this in the hospital?
Was this confusion a deliberate effort to obscure the real details of Archie's birth? As unusual as the press handling already seemed, it becomes even more questionable when attention turns to Portland Hospital. Do these conflicting accounts exist to shield a private matter, stir public sympathy, or protect something deeper within the monarchy? Medical professionals were quick to question Harry's claim that Meghan received 2 epidurals during labor. An epidural isn't a simple injection. It involves placing a catheter near the spine to deliver ongoing pain relief. And once it's positioned, doctors adjust the medication rather than repeating the procedure. Because of that, specialists say the idea of having 2 separate epidurals doesn't make sense. It would be highly uncommon, medically risky, and only considered in extreme situations where a catheter must be replaced during childbirth, which makes the statement stand out as yet another puzzling detail in an already tangled timeline.
I simply not made an announcement to the fact that all of this speculation about the children's arrival.
Critics argue that this material is more akin to a dramatic recounting for emphasis, or, worse, a distortion than it is to medical fact. Moreover, the confusion doesn't end there. Meghan's alleged quick recovery and release from Portland Hospital seem even more unlikely if she had another invasive treatment. Many epidurals and a same-day departure conflict with traditional medical guidelines, which place a major emphasis on observation to prevent issues like infection, low blood pressure, or nerve harm. In short, there is an unsettling question raised by the story's inaccurate portrayal of childbirth medicine. Was this just a misinterpretation of medical jargon? Or was the story purposefully written to seem exceptional? Because Meghan's pregnancy narrative seems to be hinting at something far larger.
You need proof that I'm authentic? I just dropped myself twerking. I have proven that I am authentic because I twerked with my husband.
Giving birth is not something that can be rushed in a matter of hours, regardless of circumstances. Standard medical practice requires that new mothers be monitored for at least 24 hours after delivery, with continuous evaluation of vital signs, bleeding, and overall recovery. Early release is only considered when both mother and baby are stable, and even then, ongoing observation is essential. In cases involving complications like preeclampsia, a serious condition that can cause organ damage, seizures, or life-threatening blood pressure spikes, patients are typically observed for days or even weeks to ensure safety. Yet Harry's account claims that Meghan went through childbirth, multiple interventions, and was home in an extraordinarily short time, a scenario that obstetricians describe as not only highly improbable, but potentially dangerous. These discrepancies are striking, especially given Meghan's public advocacy for maternal health and proper postpartum care, highlighting a sharp contrast between the story presented and what medical professionals consider responsible, safe practice.
If you had those things, it would be very easy just to put them out there and say, this is what happened. This is what it is.
Whispers from Portland Hospital staff hint at a very different story behind the polished royal announcements. Anonymous insiders have pointed out inconsistencies that clash with the carefully crafted narrative. For example, Harry's claim that he ordered a late-night dinner for Meghan was questioned by employees, who explained that patients don't actually request such meals at odd hours, and the hospital's records don't reflect the specific preferences he mentioned. Similarly, the secret elevator Harry described doesn't exist, according to longtime staff who insist that while the hospital is private, it operates like any upscale facility with discreet halls, not as a hidden royal escape route. Individually, these details may seem minor, but taken together, they paint a picture of a story shaped more for public consumption than reality. Even a medical expert cited anonymously suggested that Meghan's stay was far less dramatic than portrayed. Commentators like Candace Owens argue that if small details are questionable, larger claims should be examined too. Was the couple being intentionally theatrical to impress the public? Or was there a deeper effort to control every element of the story from the halls to the menu? Each revelation fuels suspicion and erodes trust, and when viewed in the broader context, public cynicism only intensifies. It raises pressing questions. Why are so many discrepancies present? And why did Harry include medical details like 2 epidurals and same-day discharge? Were they genuine errors, exaggerations, or part of a deliberate narrative?
So all of the pictures, my point is, out there were inconsistent with the idea of a real pregnancy.
The discrepancies are no longer minor. They demand an explanation. When the timeline, hospital details, and insider accounts don't align with the official story, one question looms. Why? Why would Meghan and Harry feel the need to embellish or alter such a deeply personal event as their child's birth? Some argue it was about controlling the narrative within a royal system where privacy is nearly impossible, while others suggest Meghan was framed as a woman under extreme pressure to evoke sympathy amid immense challenges. Yet many believe the secrecy served more to protect the monarchy from uncomfortable truths than to shield Meghan herself. Whatever the motive, these inconsistencies backfired, giving critics fresh ammunition rather than silencing them. Every misremembered moment, confused timeline, and altered detail intensifies a sense of dishonesty. And once public trust starts to erode, it is incredibly difficult to regain. Candace Owens' critiques amplify this mistrust, reinforcing doubts about credibility. The pressing question becomes, if the royal couple cannot accurately recount a birth, what else might be concealed? Whether this was a calculated public relations effort or a tangle of misleading statements, the result is the same. The authenticity of the narrative is under scrutiny. Ultimately, these contradictions raise significant concerns about Meghan and Harry's reliability, highlighting the long-term consequences of inconsistency and the lasting impact on public perception of their trustworthiness.
I am sorry, but, and genuinely, I don't even mean to attack her. There was something frustrating about her, and I think...
One thing is clear, whether you see this as simple storytelling missteps or something far more calculated, layers of confusing and conflicting details continue to cloud the truth. Candace Owens may have stirred controversy, but her viewpoint highlights questions many people have been quietly asking for years. The facts don't line up, and with each new explanation, the uncertainty only grows as timelines clash instead of settling. What makes this even more troubling is that the birth story isn't the only part of Meghan's past raising eyebrows. If the pregnancy timeline seemed questionable, the discussion around her age may be even more surprising. Her father, Thomas Markle, has shared claims that could dramatically change how some people view her story. This connects directly to earlier conversations we've had and sheds light on details that were never meant for public view. Before you go, make sure to watch that video and continue this discussion with us. You may be surprised by just how deep this trail goes. At Star Spotlight, the truth behind the headlines is often closer than it appears. Until next time, keep questioning, stay curious, and think for yourself.